So I'll just
At the 25-yard line.
yeah, and we're good. All right, welcome to the news episode of Sports Talk Central. I'm your host, Deep Mahmood. This is my normal co-host Hunter, and today we're going to be watching. Well, I'll be watching the Virginia Tech-Syracuse game, but we're going to be talking about the MLB Playoffs and some other news as well. So let's just start with yeah, so it is right now. So right now in the game, it's third down with 11 minutes left in the first quarter, and they're past midfield. I mean, the crowd definitely looks like it's coaching change. Like you're seeing a coaching. You're going to see a
You
coaching
saw
change.
you saw my tweet, right? I mean, that's at least 10,000 no-shows. That's a crowd you see before a change happens. Especially if they I even tweeted this morning, like, honestly, man, if they lose today, rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, I know the buyout goes down as the season goes on, but what would be the point? I mean, you're just
Who would be the temporary coach? Hamilton
Hamilton,
or
I think that would probably be him. Who else would you give it to? Like, in all seriousness,
Fuente would be if Fuente were to be fired, then Cornelson would go the
who
next
would
year.
go with him? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Vice would coach the would be I don't know who the offensive coordinator would be at that point.
I don't know. I don't really know either, to be honest.
All right, so right now they're near the field. Well, they're near field goal range. Um,
Actually, they had just scored a touchdown. So Braxton threw a touchdown to I don't even
yeah.
know who this guy is. Drake DeLewis. I don't think I've ever heard of him before.
Oh, backup tight end.
Oh, awesome.
Um, no. Well, and first of all, the throwbacks look really cool.
Those are cool. They need to make those their permanent uniforms.
Yeah. I'm a little bit behind. Just keep that in mind. I mean, granted, the internet connection sometimes, especially with the streaming stuff, is completely crappy.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So, but my thing is, yeah. So, I mean, it looks like yeah they are running ball. I mean, yeah, it's a touchdown pass to DeLewis. I mean, I think you might see them play with more urgency for the next few weeks because Fuente's coaching his job. We don't know if that'll save him, but I do want to bring up this question. Like for the next coach, like I think I responded to one of your tweets last week. It was about how like, well, if you fire Fuente, like here's the issue. There's three types of coaches you're going to get. You're
Yeah.
going to get either a retread like a Tom Herman. You're going to get a guy like Will Healy who let's be honest has the same background as Fuente when Fuente got the job, or you're going to go and get a guy from the NFL. I think who has no recruiting.
Or a Power Five coordinator or something like that.
Yeah.
That's your fourth option.
I think that his stock has definitely dropped because I could see his price being decreased and him wanting to go get a head coaching job at some point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like Will Healy because here's the thing. I don't think Virginia Tech is in that tier where they can be a national championship. They can win a national championship. Yeah, I see a touchdown now. That was a wide open pass. Like that was a bootleg, and no one saw DeLewis there. But the point I wanted to bring up here is it's going to be really tough who they're going to hire, and I think that there's going to be an issue with whoever they hire. If they hire
I was thinking, Billy Napier from
a
Louisiana. He's my top
yeah,
choice if they were to bring in
like the
someone.
what was he called, Baby Saban or something like that?
Yeah, and he's done a really good job with Louisiana. I'm pretty sure
Well,
his record is.
might take him. LSU might take him.
Yep, he's going to be a candidate there. I think his record is like 35-15. I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. It's kind of the same situation as Fuente, just because it's not a Power Five school, but he can recruit this region, I think, pretty well. I think you could get results fairly early, especially look at the schedule next year. When you have a moment, take a look at it. First year head coach could not be any better. You could win 9 to 10 games with that schedule if you have the talent.
And you're in the right conference. Let's be honest, you're in the right division. Like it's not the SEC. And, yeah, now that's gonna be pretty interesting. I mean, so what was saying? I think Will Healy would be a good coach because my thoughts on Will Healy is you're not like Virginia Tech isn't going to necessarily win a national championship anytime soon. No offense, I don't think they will. I think if they get really don't like if enough teams play what we think they're going to play, I don't think Tech is going to be like that. So I think where Tech can succeed is cultivate a long-term winning tradition. Because let's be honest, college football it's just minor leagues for NFL. And when
Yeah.
you look at that, the thing about college football, so what you need to do is you need to lean into that. You need to lean into development. And you look at Will Healy and what he's done at Austin Peay, what he's done at Coastal Carolina. He's done a lot of good things at
Mm.
those programs, and focusing more on development of these guys and the ability and building a good environment. I think if you can do that, that's great because Virginia Tech's a hotbed of talent. But the thing is, if you can develop them really well, then the national championship kind of now you can reach the ceiling. You see what I'm saying? Increase
Yeah.
the floor, and then try to get maintain a high floor and try to increase the ceilings. I think for me, Will Healy is the guy I would target. Here's another name though. This is a risky choice. This is a 1 or 2 year thing, but Greg Roman. That could be an interesting choice.
I'll pass. I'll
Because,
pass.
yeah, no, like it's too much of a risky choice because he hasn't been recruiting. But the thing is, when you look at a guy like Greg Roman, his run game, like when he's designing a run game at the NFL level, great. His passing game isn't developed enough at the NFL level, but with the ACC, maybe it can be better. And then as a recruiting wise, he can be like, yeah, I helped develop Tyrod Taylor. He has a little bit of cachet there. I don't think he could be an option, but you understand why I think that he's an out of the box thinking, but I just don't think it will work.
I think it
Um,
would just be too much.
and he's not going to be here for another. Well, he would be what 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. You want someone that can actually try to build a program.
And again, so I think that's why it's gonna be tough. Um, but here's the other thing: do you think that Hamilton is going to be a big impact on it?
I think a little bit. I mean, they're definitely going to, you know, they'll keep him in the fold. I don't know if the new coach will want to bring in his own DC, but I think Hamilton has earned the right to at least stay there for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that was Hamilton. I think that they're looking at him to be the long term coach for the long term. I just think that he doesn't have that experience right now, so it's going to be pretty tough. I think that ideally you would want someone that can come in for 3 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hopefully, and this would be good news, that the guy, let's say it's Will Healy, does or Billy Napier does like a team like LSU or a team like a bigger school that might need a head coach might take that guy. Now you could put in Hamilton as kind of like the backup plan. But I think that's the tricky thing because what happens if Hamilton goes to another school, becomes a good head coach, and now his price tag goes up. So that's kind of the
Yeah,
tricky thing.
exactly.
Yeah, I think, and don't be shocked if because with Babcock, they're gonna have to buy out Fuente if he does get fired.
Yeah, he would.
Hamilton will come out of severe balance that out by saying we're going to go bring in an experienced offensive coordinator. I mean, I think the receivers, not either receivers or the running backs coach um, from Alabama. I think he was like the second best recruiter in the nation. I think he's a guy that they could bring in as an offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I think that's kind of what I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they do. Like they save money on the head coach, they go get an experienced guy on the opposite end. I just for me I think so it's gonna be tricky with the head coach. That's why for me, while I agree that Fuente, I also think that it's way more difficult to guarantee that the next head coach, and like you said in your tweet, you have to nail this head coach, whoever you get this time around, because you have breathing room. You had breathing room when they hired Fuente. You had breathing room. With replacing Fuente, you don't have that breathing room anymore. Now it's you have to actually get to another good coach because now it's two. If you failed with the next coach, it's two coaches after Beamer, and you still haven't found that long guy.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's for me. That's the tricky thing. So right
Yeah, I
Now I'm
mean,
at the left game.
apparently there might be a bit of fumble in the game that they're reviewing.
Yeah, I saw that.
I agree with you overall. This is hire is more important, I think, than the last one. Um, this is going to be hopefully set up for many years down the stretch with the program. So I'm sure he's honestly already putting
Do
out some feelers. I
Yeah,
would say right now, I think
I
he's
think
already talking to
Babcock's
some
talking
people.
to agents for sure. I mean, that's
He
why
already
you him
is.
talking,
There's no doubt he is.
and I think that's why you don't hear him talk right now. I think this is a lot of backdoor agent discussions. I think they have like, I think that they have those. Tony Elliott said he would welcome the opportunity to coach at Virginia Tech. I don't know how much of that is media. You know what I mean by media speak, and you know what I mean by actual thoughts. Like the whole thing when Fuente said, "Oh, this is the best passing offense." I don't know if that was his actual thoughts or whether that was him talking through
It
the media.
was the best lie he's ever told. That's for sure.
Oh, but here's the thing: do you think that was him talking to Cornelson, giving him confidence through the media? So he's giving a quote to the media, but he's looking through the media and to actually towards Cornelson, or do you think I'm overthinking that one?
He might be overthinking a little bit. This is the same guy who chose this player over Hendon Hooker and Quincy Patterson. So at the end of the day, I think you're definitely overthinking a little bit just because I think time and time again he's proven to be a complete moron when it comes to being a head coach at this school. So if he actually believed that, it wouldn't be surprising in the slightest, even though it was one of the greatest
Oh,
lies.
I think this is close. It's close. Because he kind of turns it around. The Syracuse guy. It looks like it's still his knee was down before on that one. So yeah, I mean, yeah, keep going.
No, yeah, that was my main point. I mean, just it would not be surprising if they just if well, excuse me, if he kind of just believed it, I guess.
Yeah, and then we'll go back to the Virginia Tech talk. But did you see the Red Sox Astros game?
I saw it. Now someone else has to snap Thanos' team out of existence again, just because I can't stand seeing that team have success. It's honestly gone to Patriots territory with how they cheated. So, I know if I have to root for the Atlanta Braves, who are my division, I'll feel a little sick doing it, but I'll still root for them. They also haven't won in a while. Anything to not see another Dodgers Astros World Series, I think is my thing. I hate the Braves, but seeing Freddie Freeman actually get a ring would I think be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I think. I'm with you, but but the more I think about it, I do have sympathy for Houston because here's my thought. Here's the reason why. Because I was watching Chris Bassett, who was I think he's the pitcher. He's a pitcher to Chris Rose on John Boy Media, and he said something pretty interesting. So one of the things I've been saying on the show is I don't think the Astros were the only team cheating. We know that the Red Sox cheated. Like
Yeah.
we know all of that. Um, but and then in the past few months, we heard Joey Votto, apparently Tyler Glasnow. We've heard some retired players kind of hint at it, like they were dancing around the idea that the Astros weren't the only ones cheating. They were the most brazen about it. They were caught. Someone snitched on them, but they weren't the only teams cheating. And then Chris Bassett took it one step further, and he said they were. He called it kind of like an arms race. So seeing an active player refer to like the sign stealing across teams as an arms race
Mhm.
raises started what they've done with how they baseball treated steroids and how they treated foreign substance and how they've ignored it. The idea that they said, all right, we won't take away your title to the Astros. We won't we won't take away your title.
Mhm.
Um yeah, or Syracuse just ran it in for a touchdown. That was not good.
Of course they did.
Yeah. But the point, we won't take away your title. We won't suspend your players. But you have to. But it was it. But in return, we're going to frame the narrative of sign stealing that you guys were sign stealing, even though MLB knows, players know, owners know, executives know, retired players know. it's all BS. We know that more teams are doing it, and to me, it is a bad look for MLB that they
Mm,
chose to, like, in a way, they chose to scapegoat a team because they refused to even acknowledge a league wide problem. Me,
yeah.
I do have some sympathy because teams cheated, right? Let's be honest. Multiple teams cheated. The reason why we don't know about it is MLB doesn't want us to know how many teams cheated. And the fact that the more they try to push this on Houston, the more I think bigger teams cheated. And I think that it's unfair to a degree that Houston should get blackballed or they should get criticized for something that other teams are doing because
I also think they did it more advanced than some of the other teams did, which is why I think a lot of people, myself included, are not
I'll be
big
honest, it
fans.
wasn't.
They had
Yeah,
like,
and I agree. I think
yeah, go
they're
ahead.
more brazen. They won a championship, so there's definitely a degree of difficulty there. I don't think it was more advanced. Let's be honest here. Okay, great. You have video cameras. You're banging on a trash can. That's not. That's not. That's not. That's not advanced. That's we're in your face cheating, and you don't. And you can't do anything about it because if you do that, and we have the liberty to expose other teams, we will expose other teams type of thinking. So no, like that's not advanced. Like advanced is what the Red Sox were doing in 2017 with Apple Watch. Like if they just took out trash cans and they used Apple Watches and then they did something unique with the stadium or they put in some inconspicuously put some lights in. That's what they did. That's advanced. Banging on a trash can one time for fastball, two time for curveball. That's not advanced. That's something that any one of us could come up with. Like, let's be honest here. Like, so they were brazen, so I wouldn't call them advanced. But the Dodgers with I mean, I'm rooting for Atlanta just because I don't want. I think the Dodgers are a little hypocritical with their things there.
But they're
Um,
also like, it's also a joke how like filthy rich that team is, and I don't. I mean, I love Max, I love Trey, but I hate Dodger Stadium. I hate Dodgers fans. They cheat the system with how much money they have. It's such a joke. I don't want them anywhere near another World Series for a while. I can't stand that team. And I just
yeah, and
hate Dave Roberts too. I think that guy sucks.
do you think Dave Roberts is the West Coast Aaron Boone? And we can talk about Aaron Boone, the
I mean,
extension they gave him. Just a joke.
he literally is carried by his team. He's not that good of a manager, and he's also just such a.
Over
I'm
20
not going to say bad words on this man. He's just such a that little smirk that he
Yeah,
has
he's
on
Tony
his
La Russa.
face all the time. I can't stand him. He just ugh.
And he overmanages. I mean, look, I
Yeah, he
understand.
does.
Yeah, like today, like not starting Scherzer today because of arm fatigue. I understand that one. But then again, you know why Scherzer suffered arm fatigue? Most likely, because he put Max Scherzer in as the closer,
Yeah.
and then for 2 straight days started a bullpen game. And then, oh,
Yeah.
by the way, you can have two bullpen games in 3 days. I mean, Atlanta. I mean, Ian Anderson was a top 30 prospect at one point. So to me, I think that
Hmm.
like I think Atlanta does it. I'm cautiously optimistic because we saw what happened last year. Atlanta went up to 2-0 lead. Dodgers won game 4. Atlanta won game 5. Dodgers won game 6 and 7. So we saw what happened, and that was at a neutral site. So to me, I'm rooting for Atlanta. They're the most likable team. Marcell Ozuna excluded. They're the most likable team that there is. I want to see Freddie Freeman get a ring. Vegas was still playing, but he's not playing there. So, and Flaherty's not playing there anymore. So they don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was are you watching or seeing it on ESPN?
No, I'm not. I'm not, man. I tried to put it on the TV, but it's just like not.
But yeah, so
Yeah, I'm following you on Twitter. Apparently, first down for Burmeister on a keeper. Looks like he's playing well today, which is nice. I know he's so banged up, but I'll always respect someone who is going to play his tail off no matter
yeah,
what.
especially after what he did in that Notre Dame game, that was great.
Legend for that.
Yeah, did you see? I think it was Andy Bitter. He tweeted out a video of Alex Orjai a couple days ago. He showed like two passes and like Orjai threw on his back foot, like on his back foot. I mean, I'm excited to see him in there. Now, I'm even more excited because I don't think we're going to see the same offensive system. It's going to be something different. But it's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, what Trey Turner has done in the past few years for Virginia Tech, Trey Turner has done is really good.
Yes.
Like I think I think it was his mom tweeted out something like
I saw that. Yeah.
7 different quarterbacks. I think that was great seeing that there. I would say that okay, so it looks like it's a 3-yard. Yeah, it's so it's 3rd and 1 at the 47 right now, and then yeah, it seems like Malachi Thomas is getting more looks in this game.
Mm-hmm. He is. I'm actually glad
about
that. They're actually starting to use some of their a little bit more. Say that again?
Oh yeah, Austin had a nice catch last week, so that's pretty good.
He did, yes.
So we'll shift more. I'll talk a little bit now. I mean, what were your thoughts on the Steelers Seahawks game?
I mean, good start. I mean, they're up 14-0, and then the defense just decided not to tackle former Raven Alex Collins, which they had a lot of difficulty when he was there for those 4 years. When Flacco was there, I think he was also there for Lamar's.
Yeah. No, he wasn't there with Lamar.
I thought he was for the first season.
No, it was maybe. Yeah, maybe he was there for like the first half of 2018.
Yeah, I thought he was there for a little bit. Yeah, he was definitely there for a lot of Joe Flacco's years. For some reason, they just can't tackle him when they play him. Don't really understand it. They shut him down in the first half, and then defense just probably played their worst half of football in 2 years. Well, since the playoff game, I should say. Ben he threw some dimes, threw some ducks. That's what you're going to get from him at this point. But at the end of the day, you know why they paid T.J. Watt. He won them the game. That's why he gets the most money out of football.
He can't do what he did there as well, though. Like with punching the ball. Like he
was going for the ball. Probably shouldn't have done it. But it's a clever way to go about it, I would say.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't really see. But again, at the end of the day, he won them the game. That's why you pay him. And they're back to 3-3. And now, so bye week this week, the Browns, they go to Cleveland on Halloween. Baker Mayfield's probably not going to play, I don't think.
There's something I do want to talk about that, especially when it comes to his contract.
Give me a sec. And we'll get to that, of course. Nick Chubb, I don't know if he's going to play either. Odell's really hurt. Jarvis Landry's banged up. Their defense is hurt. I mean, that's a very Kareem Hunt's not going to play. So if they go to Cleveland and beat them, they have the Lions and the Bears right after. You're 6-3 going into the second half of the season. All of a sudden, things are looking up for a wild card spot at the very least. So we'll see. Obviously these 3 games, it's the Steelers. There's 10,000 heart attacks each game with them. They gotta get better offensively. Use this bye week to do that. Hopefully the defense can improve. They can get a little healthier there. I don't know. Maybe Stephon Tuitt can come back. But loved what I saw from T.J. Watt. Minkah Fitzpatrick needs to be a lot better. If he wants to get a nice contract from this team, he needs to start making some smart plays.
For $20 million, like that's the thing.
Yeah, I agree. He's not. And this fan base, I will say, they're very sensitive when it comes to Minkah because he was so good those first couple of years. Even last year, he was awesome. But the way he's playing right now, it's not at the level that we saw him play at those first couple of seasons, and it's discouraging. So I will call it out however I see it. It's not good enough. If he wants a good extension, he needs to be a lot better than that. Chris Boswell, thank God he made that kick. I have Justin Tucker up here, then a little down here, Chris Boswell, and then everyone else. I think that's how you go with ranking kickers in this league. It's literally almost like a 1A, 1B thing. Tucker's honestly one of the greatest kickers of all time. But They needed the win. The fact that they almost lost to Geno Smith would have been embarrassing just because they've lost to so many bad quarterbacks over the years, which just doesn't make any sense. But the 3-3, the season's looking better, and hopefully we'll get to see what happens. As they have 3, I would say, pretty winnable games moving forward. Did you want to talk about the Ravens next, or did you want to talk about the Browns?
Yeah, let's talk Ravens and we'll talk Browns. It was nice to see a Ravens game where you don't have a heart attack for the first.
Can't relate.
Oh no, yep. I think that I was shocked at how confused they made Herbert. Like how confused.
That was weird. Yeah, he was bad in that game, and he's been really good all year. I didn't understand that.
Well, apparently what they were doing is so they were disguising coverages pretty well. Like they were showing similar looks that they've done the last few weeks, but they would move certain guys different ways. Like they might show Deshaun Elliott on a play where a few weeks ago he might do certain things, but he would actually be the blitzer, right? And I think it's becoming clear that so there's a term a long time ago called. So one of the things, so basically that term came from that term came from World of Warcraft, where the idea is there's a plan and then someone rushes in. And I think that with Don Martindale, he does play a Leroy Jenkins type defense, where it's sort of like there's a plan, and then what he does is he tries to create a numbers advantage on one side. So there'll be like 3. It'll be something like maybe like 4 linemen blocking. So he would try to set up 5 blitzers, and then that 5th blitzer is the guy that's going to Leroy Jenkins, and it goes right at the quarterback. So I think that's what he did, and I think he did a pretty good job of that. It was pretty interesting. They put Marlon Humphrey on Mike Williams, and then they just double teamed Keenan Allen. It was also pretty. I mean, that was pretty good. Lamar didn't have his best game. I mean, the second interception was not on him. That hit Rashad Bateman and then bounced off him. The second one, he didn't see the linebacker in coverage. That's the big concern that we have. And Braxton just threw to Tavion.
It looked like apparently it might have been inbounds. If you can look at the replay, I'm not sure though.
First and goal. I mean, might be out on that one. I think he made it in. Let's see. He gets it. Ooh, that's tough. That's gonna be very tough. But no, like Lamar played well. Sammy Watkins didn't play last week. He's not playing this week. Andrews is continuing to play well. Lamar definitely has the weapons now to throw to, and it's pretty interesting to see what Bateman does. I mean, I think Bateman's going to have a breakout game against the Bengals because Eli Apple is the second corner that he's probably going to be going up against Eli Apple, and when you have Hollywood and Andrews on one side, and it's going to be mainly covering those 2 guys, and then you have Eli, and then Uzier, the guy corner from the ex-Cowboy, he's probably going to be covering Hollywood. That probably puts Rashad Bateman 1-on-1 against Eli Apple, and Rashad Bateman wins that 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's gonna be interesting. I'm actually going to that game. I'm actually going to the game tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I'm like going to be in like the nosebleeds.
That's where I'll be for the Steelers game on Sunday, about 3 weeks from this Sunday, actually.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty lot of fun. Ravens game I've been to a while, so I'll see that in the thing. It'll be the second game I've been to a Ravens. Second game I've been when Lamar is starting. First one was like a game against the Buccaneers in 2018. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Joe Burrow's good. He's definitely. I think that there's similarities between the offenses between the Bengals and the Chargers because you look at them and they have a big receiver, Tyler Boyd, Mike Williams. They have Keenan Allen. The Chargers have Keenan Allen. The Bengals have. So I could see them doing that type of defense. It depends on. It's going to depend on the Bengals offensive line.
I almost forgot that you play the Bengals tomorrow. That's going to be pretty interesting. But no, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say it's gonna depend a lot on Oh yeah, the play is confirmed. It is first and goal. All right,
Awesome.
so basically what happened? So I think that it's gonna be depending on the offensive line because I did not think the Bengals offensive line is gonna be has played this. It's gonna play this well. Has played this well. I didn't think they're gonna play that well. So if they could turn back the clock and have Adafe just, I look, we'll see what Adafe and Justin can do. If they can put pressure on Joe Burrow, it's gonna be pretty interesting. What I think it's going to be, and Malachi Thomas 4-yard touchdown run. Um,
Beautiful. Nice.
yeah, so what I think is going to be pretty interesting is if you can pressure Joe Burrow, that's going to be the key. Because the issue with the Bengals is they hit those big plays. I think they want to hit those big plays. They want to put the fear that they can hit those big plays when they can.
I
So if
agree.
you
Yeah.
pressure Joe Burrow, right? Because I know Jamar Chase is good. He averages 20 yards per carry, 20 yards per catch. If you can make them work their way and work them in the middle of the field, where you have Deshaun Elliott, where you have Chuck Clark, former Virginia Tech, who's actually been playing pretty well. You have these guys in the middle of the field, and they might be willing to hit Jamar Chase. Then I think that's going to be or Tyler Boyd. That's going to give them an advantage. Now the what I what was I going to say? And then so I think that's going to be the key there. It's
Mhm.
going to be pretty interesting. It's definitely going to be a lot tougher. I mean, that's the one thing. So we can move on. And no, wait. And then also one more thing. Josh Bynes is a veteran for like the last few times. Josh Bynes, he came in 20. He was a longtime Raven. Then 2019 came back in week 4. The linebacker play improved. The linebacker play tackling was an issue at the start of this year. Josh Bynes came in last he started last week and everything was better. It's just like Josh Bynes. Like I don't know if the Steelers have a guy like that where it's like a veteran where he's not a guy that you would know, but for some whatever reason, when he comes in, he just stabilizes the entire defense. And I think Josh
Yeah.
Bynes is like that guy for the Ravens. Pernell McPhee's another guy. He was definitely a guy. I mean, Patrick Queen looked a lot better. So I think that's going to be big. So let's talk Browns. Like, what are your thoughts on Baker's injury, contract, all that other stuff?
He fractured his shoulder after the torn labrum, which is I don't even know how he's trying to play. He's just a tough dude. I was always respecting for that. I think he's a good quarterback, elite, but is he elite? No. Is he? I think he's at a slightly above average quarterback.
Is he a slightly above average Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I mean, who knows if I get old takes exposed for this one, man. But I don't think they'll ever win a ring with him as long as he's there. Like someone actually someone had this tweet. This was really good. The Browns are the perfect example of when 90% of your offense is stacked, or 90% of your roster is so stacked, but the last 10% of it is your quarterback, and you can't do anything because of that. And I think that's a great summary of what they are.
So you're saying take away Chubb and take away Hunt, and then often take away some of those one of those tackles. You're talking about an average quarterback. Like they're winning in spite. Like they're where he has to. Okay, you know that there's a difference of winning with someone and winning because of someone.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think Baker is a guy that you could win with, but Baker most of the time is not a guy that you could win because of someone. Like Lamar, he's a guy that you could win because like Lamar can take over a game. Ben can take over a game at points. Joe
Mhm.
Burrow can take over a game. Baker every once in a game and be good, but you don't see that consistently enough. And I think that's the issue here.
Yeah.
The issue is the contract because this is why you sign your contract earlier, especially if you're in Baker Mayfield situation. This is why you sign your contract because the problem is if Case Keenum plays well, I could see them keeping Case Keenum at a fraction of the cost. So Baker now loses $40-ish million. Now here's where the problem is. The Cleveland Browns, they've been in quarterback purgatory for how long? If
Mhm.
they put Baker Mayfield, the history tells you it's going to be a while before you find a quarterback. And Case Keenum, he's a backup for a reason. There's a reason why he's been on multiple teams. He's a nice guy to keep for 3 or 4 games. I don't know if he's a guy that you signed for long. And I don't know. And like I said, I don't trust their ability to draft quarterbacks. Baker, they got lucky. And that's the conundrum. You got to pay Baker $40 million plus because that's market value.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, but the problem is he's not worth $40 million plus.
Oh no, there's no chance.
So the conundrum is, if you pay Baker, he's overpaid. He's what Joe Flacco was to the Ravens, where he was overpaid. They clearly overpaid Flacco. They had to pay. They had to play Flacco. However, if you don't pay Baker Mayfield, you're in quarterback purgatory. You're in. Here are 7 top 15 picks in the next 10 years. You're in that territory. How do you manage that? Because you've shown you can't develop quarterbacks, because if you could develop quarterbacks, you wouldn't be in that position where Baker's the first. But if you pay Baker, he's not worth the money you're going to have to pay him. And that's the tricky thing. And I don't know how you sell that to the fan base. So what are your thoughts on like his contract situation, how much money, and all that stuff?
I know. I mean, like it's gonna be. He's probably gonna ask for so much just because he was such a top pick, and yes, he improved last season, but this year, I mean, I understand he's been banged up, but he has all these weapons around him, and they're only 4-3. I mean, like that's like, and then they won that. Obviously, that game in spite of because Baker didn't play, but when he's been the starter, they've only been 3-3. I mean, Arizona went to Cleveland. Kyler Murray opened up a can of whoop ass on him, and they destroyed them. And
Kyler Murray is a guy you win because of.
Yes,
and you know that because Cliff Kingsbury wasn't there.
Yeah, he was not. Like they both work off of each other. That's the main thing, I think. And I like Kevin Stefanski as a coach. I think he's a good play caller. I think he knows what he's doing most of the time. But this guy's like really not that good, man. Baker, that is. He's not. I don't think he is.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is when you think about it, Baker, who was his first head coach? Hugh Jackson, right? So he had Hugh Jackson. Okay, great. It didn't work. And I think they stuffed him at 3rd and 6. They tried. Syracuse tried a screen pass, and one of the safeties, let's see who it was, snuffed it out and just hit him at the line of scrimmage. 34. But I'm trying to remember who it was, but yeah. So that's basically that's the issue. And when you think about it, let me go back to the Hugh Jackson point. The first coach Baker had was Hugh Jackson, right? And then with Hugh Jackson, he struggled. And then he had Freddie Kitchens as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then what happened was Freddie Kitchens, it didn't work with him as a head coach. So what did they do? They fired him. And actually, Greg Williams as well was the other head coach he played for. That's 2 head coaches. Freddie Kitchens was the third. It failed with Freddie Kitchens as the head coach. Then it didn't work with Hugh Jackson. Okay, That's fine. Maybe Hugh Jackson wasn't the right coach for Baker Mayfield. It worked. It kind of worked with Greg Williams, but you could say part of that was schedule. Part of that was Freddie Kitchens as an offensive coordinator. But it wasn't. He didn't get the job done there. Freddie Kitchens, that was an unmitigated disaster. Let's be honest. That was a bad disaster. The problem is, so now that's one coach that didn't work out. One coach, we didn't see enough time to see whether it would work out or not. 2 coaches, let's say 2.5, right? 2.5 coaches that Baker didn't, where the Browns didn't win because of Baker. It was 2.5 coaches, and they might have won with him, but not because of him. And now, when Stefanski was being hired, that's kind of where my issue was, right? 2.5 coaches. At what point do you go in and say it's not the coaches because Baker Mayfield was the common denominator between all 4 of these coaches? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's the issue here. Like if you
I
have
mean,
a quarterback,
the Browns also churn out coaches like it's a joke. But I mean, it's he needs to like improve in more than one way. I mean, we all saw what happened with Lamar Jackson, right? He really his passing coming out of college. Let's just say it was bad, But
it was
this year,
mechanically flawed. Yes.
yeah, this year it's a 180 from what I saw last year. I remember I talked about it with you. I said, I want to see more from him. Can he play from behind? Okay, check. Can he continue to progress in the intermediate and the long routes? Yep, that's a check mark right there. So you haven't really seen that with Baker, I don't think, yet, with the improvement from last year to this year, which is why someone like Lamar Jackson has improved despite not being as good of a thrower as Baker was coming out.
Or having the same supporting cast. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Take a look at 2019. Like no one could you name the receivers that other than Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. Name the receivers he had in 2019 when he won the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Like Willie Snead.
Yeah, Willie Snead, Chris Moore, yeah.
That's Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Hurst. Well, Hayden Hurst is somewhat good.
Yeah, he was not bad.
Nice catch. So yeah, no, that was a nice catch by 5 on that one, Blackshear. Because so basically, Burmeister threw it, but he kind of threw it down. So Blackshear kind of caught it at the bottom, and then he ran like 15-ish yards. So that was a nice catch by him. But the point I'm trying to make here is now that you see Lamar with Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins for the first 5 games, now Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay is getting more involvement. You're starting to see Lamar become a better passer because his development is there, and and the talent around him is better. It just sucks that Gus Edwards and Dobbins got hurt because man, you put one of those guys in this offense, and that's just scary.
It is, yeah.
So with the Browns, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they do. So if they don't make the playoffs this year or they struggle, like for next year, if they don't struggle, do you think Stefanski goes? Do you think Baker goes? Because they still have that 5th-year option and they still have they can franchise tag him once or twice. Do you think who goes first in this situation? Like if they struggle next 2 years or they don't get to the AFC Championship?
I think Stefanski goes first. I think they're not going to give up on him just yet.
Do you think that Andrew Barry? What do you think Andrew Barry's job security, GM, is going to look like?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Because I feel bad. I mean, I would definitely feel bad for him. Because I don't think Wyatt Teller. I mean, it's me that sent the money because Wyatt Teller is due for a new contract and he's pretty good. We'll say. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what they do. And then Clowney hasn't been great. The corners, I mean, yeah, they've drafted a bunch of first and second year corners, first and second round corners, and it looks like the call will stand because the ball might have hit the ground first, but on that play, but they really haven't done much. Joe Woods is not a great defensive coordinator.
Oh, he's terrible. You should see what Browns fans say about him on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah. So here's a good thing about the game so far, Virginia Tech-Syracuse. Syracuse has 3 first downs. Virginia Tech has 10. So that's good so far. That's a good sign.
Oh, I mean, at least it's 14-7. They're actually using Raheem Blackshear in the passing game a little bit. So that's another thing I don't understand. Why don't they use him so much? Like, I don't get it. He's so good. But yet it's just another weird thing from Brad Cornelson.
I think that, like I said earlier in the stream, I think the thing about I think you're going to see them play game plan with more urgency because I think at this point their job security is on the line. Now, why they don't do this earlier in the year with more urgency? So I can't give them too much. I cannot give Fuente and Cornelson too much credit. I cannot give them credit in that situation because it took people yelling for your job to be fired,
and then to finally run the ball today, like it's like old times. It's so funny, right?
Yeah. So I mean that's where it's interesting. Let's see more. I'm gonna I'm checking ESPN for some of the scores for the top 25 games.
Penn
Since
State's playing Illinois right now. I'm around
yeah,
the league.
yeah, it's a good game. Wake Forest Army is tied.
Okay.
Uh, Kansas, it has a 10-0 lead against Oklahoma.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Kansas has a 10-0 lead, and it's 2nd and 5. The Kansas 39. Kansas has the
Is
ball.
Rattler playing or is it Caleb
Caleb,
Williams?
by the way, Caleb Williams is from DC,
Oh.
so that's pretty cool to see. He knows they have.
Idiot. Stop.
I mean,
Stop.
that's the
Stop
second
hurting
thing.
me, man.
Caleb Williams.
Stop hurting
Caleb
me.
Williams. But it's pretty interesting to see. Wow. Man, what do you think Spencer Rattler's future is going to be? Because I don't think he has a big future in the NFL. I don't. Do you think he tries to transfer? Because I heard someone says like Carson Strong's performance might determine what he does. Carson
Ooh,
Strong.
that would be interesting.
Yeah, because do you think if he loses the job to Caleb Williams, do you think Spencer Rattler transfers to a Division II or lower conference school, tries
He
to build
could.
up draft stock? Um, I I just think, and I also think there might be an attitude issue with Rattler. Did you see that clip of like I think it was like a high school camp or a high school where he throws a pass and the receiver doesn't catch it, and he basically chews out the receiver saying it's your fault, it's your
I did
fault.
not see that. When was that posted?
It was a long time ago. I mean, you can find it on Twitter at some point. I don't know how to search for it, but pretty much what he was saying is it was a bad play that he took no blame for. That was all. He blamed it on the receiver, and then there was this whole thing about his dad kind of saying something, and then the Oklahoma media no, and didn't have that conference. There's just something about Spencer Rattler that screams entitlement, and I don't know an NFL starter. I think he's an NFL backup. But I don't know what teams. I don't like. I have not seen a guy's stock drop as much as he has. I mean, Kenny Pickett might be a first rounder at this point.
That's crazy to think about. Consider he wasn't even that good before this season.
I mean, granted, Malik Willis hasn't been solid all year. Talia Tagovailoa hasn't been solid all
Yeah.
year. Um, Sam Howell hasn't been solid. I mean, one of these guys is going to get picked. Matt Corral has been solid. I, I mean, it's going to be amazing to see one of these two guys. I think one of those two guys might be the first quarterback picked, and no one would have predicted that.
Literally. Yeah, no, you're right. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and then, I think it's gonna be I mean, what else is there? I mean, it's just quarterback market is just gonna be weird. I think we now know that it's going to be make something happen.
Uh, I hope we didn't just lose it deep. That would be kind of bad there. Waiting for him to come back. Let me text him real quick. Did your internet? Let's see here. I hope his internet did not go out. Looking to see here. Okay, so he's about to respond. Yeah, my internet's just fine. It's definitely him. Usually we've had internet problems. No, still 14-7, which is okay. Kansas is beating Oklahoma at the half 10-0. Hopefully Spencer Rattler comes in because that would be hilarious. Oh, his computer died. Yeah, that's no worries. Oh, hello. His internet crashed for a sec.
You're live.
Yeah, I know. I am. I know. He said, "Let me get the charger." Right. So, yeah, still 14-7. Hokies have forced Syracuse into a 3rd and 11. They have the key play tweet going on. That's one of the things that they always have to keep that going. Brad Cornelison, never underestimate. He's so stupid. Second day, they're running a reverse, and then they lose 7, and then Meister ends up getting sacked. So, yeah, Brad Cornelison is just a complete and utter moron. Every single time he tries to do stuff, I will literally never understand it. I really don't get it with what he's doing and such. So yeah, I wish I could be surprised at this point, but I'm not. So let's see if he's coming back here. I believe he is. Let's see here. All right, nice. At least before, Syracuse is pretty bad though, so this is at least nice. Tech's going to have the ball starting at their own 43-yard line, which is huge. Just waiting for Stillity to come back. Hopefully it comes on here pretty quick. Well, hopefully at least. Okay. Yeah. So Virginia Tech at the 43-yard line. Syracuse had a 29-yard punt. That's beautiful. Michigan fumbled inside the 10 while trying to take a 17-7 lead over Northwestern. So the Wildcats are only down by 3, which is definitely a little surprising with this. So, at least, with me and stuff. So, hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later, so I don't sit here looking like a moron. Let's see here. There allows 8 yards. Peter Moore is a much better punt. Okay, drops it. Yeah. There we go. Hello, sir. Your laptop?
Yeah, I had my laptop, and then for some reason, I took a while to get the internet connecting. I thought I had enough juice that I could do without going to get the charger. So basically,
you didn't miss much. So the Hokies had another 3 and out. They just punted it back, but Peter Moore downed it at the 2-yard line. Basically, is an Oscar Bradburn clone. He's such a great punter. It's like they find the best punters, and then I don't understand.
Well, look at their offense. Why do you think they're the best punters?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love it how they're running the ball so well. Now they're starting to pass. Again, Brady Cornelison never ceases to amaze me, man.
Yeah, I have it at 3rd and 4, and it's gonna be pretty interesting. Where were we at? I want to talk about the Deshaun Watson rumors. Like, what are your thoughts on?
That was the Washington football team thing. That would seem to be so fabricated if you saw it.
Which one? So that
there was 3 teams involving the Dolphins, Texans, and the Washington football team, but it was I think made up by someone or something. I think the Washington was
So
going to go to Deshaun was going to go to Miami, and Houston was going to get someone. I think I don't really know.
like picks and a player or something.
Yeah, I think that was what the rumor thing was, but apparently, the reporter, the big time reporter, said like that's not happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a PR perspective, it's I don't know if you could trade for Deshaun Watson from a PR perspective. I think that's a bad look. I would say that I'm not shocked because the Dolphins have been connected so much to Deshaun so much, and then when you think about it, Tua, like with Brian Flores. By the way, we'll talk about Brian Flores' potential job security, but with Tua, when they drafted him, they still alternated snaps between him and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
They did.
And yeah, and then obviously they were considering trading for Deshaun Watson this offseason. I don't know what confidence they have in Tua, and I don't know how much confidence Tua should have in the Dolphins. I think that's the tricky thing here. So this is why you don't. This is the negative side of these discussions because the trust is deteriorating between them. Even though it might not be in the media, I think the trust is deteriorating with those guys. What do you think on that one? Do you think that Tua doesn't trust Dolphins?
Say it right, indeed. Just messing around. But no, I definitely think there is. Brian Flores. Yeah, you're a journalism major and you can't even say deteriorating, right? That's just embarrassing. No, I'm just messing around. But I definitely think there's a lot of turmoil there with that team. Honestly, I think Flores is going to be fired after this season. That team's bad. Tua has not lived up to what we all thought he was going to be yet. But I also think he needs a better environment to succeed around. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. The Dolphins just seem so promising, and it just fizzled. Like, do you think the Dolphins they're kind of like the Padres? Like, where the Padres had a great vibe, but it might fizzle out really quick. And I think that's kind of the issue with him going to the Washington football team. I think that's a good move for him. I think that front office aside, the football aside, it's on the football field, it's stable.
Mm-hmm.
Off the field, not really. That's the issue. I think that's the issue.
That for sure.
And I just think that Ron Rivera, I think Ron Rivera would be better off with a safer quarterback. Like, do you think that Rivera would be better off with a safer place like Tua would provide? Or do you think that he wants a higher ceiling?
I think someone with higher ceiling, in my opinion, at least. I don't know if he would want to take a risk on that, considering how bad he's been with Miami so far.
Tua plus Terry McLaurin would be and Dami Brown would be scary. Like, that would be scary with Antonio Gibson. That would be pretty good.
Defense, if they can develop him right, I think it would make sense. But how much do you really trust the Washington football team to do that? No, I don't.
Yeah, and that's the big concern if you are for that. And then some other stuff. What were some other stories? Like, there's some other stuff there as well. We had the Eagles. Do you think the Eagles move on from Jalen Hurts at some point?
No, I think they're going to keep him and see. This is his first full year starting, so.
I also find it interesting that the two teams most connected to Deshaun Watson were the Dolphins and Eagles, and the Dolphins and both of those teams, their quarterbacks were Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. I just found that really interesting.
Yeah, that is. How much time is left in the half? Just curious.
4:10. If you want to end the stream in the next couple of minutes, guys, I think we covered
I think we've
all
got
the
I think
major
we did pretty much
topics.
everything. There's a lot of good games this weekend.
Yeah.
The Steelers are off, which is nice. I get to have a week off of not having a heart attack. I'll be cheering for all the chaos in the Bengals Ravens game. I'll probably be, in terms of wild card purposes, I'll probably be rooting for the Ravens to win just because I don't need the Bengals to keep winning. But big game next Halloween. I love that all the games next Sunday are on Halloween. I don't think we've ever had that before. But
Yeah, I mean,
if Tech ends up choking this game, you're going to see a lot of people wanting this to be done on Monday, this firing.
yeah, it might be. I mean, who knows? Because I just think that Babcock's been way too quiet about this stuff. So, but yeah, we'll see you next week. Let me see. Let me see.
Who do they play next week again?
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, yeah. I'll let you know. I have that answer coming on Monday. I don't know when they're going to want me to start if I get it. So we'll talk about what day we'll record next week pretty soon.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we right now, if no issues happen, then we're probably thinking about 12 o'clock. Yeah. We're thinking about 12 o'clock one because that's when the game starts. But yeah, we'll know. We'll change. We'll talk about when it's best to record. But thank you all for listening, and hope you listen next week.
Yep, sounds good. See y'all then.